Welcome to BizTech's Leadership's Conversation show. Our guest for today is Rashid Mohammed, Executive Vice President of Global Operations and Business Technology at Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise. Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise delivers customized technology experiences enterprises need to make everything to connect. Now, the organization provides a digital age networking, communications, and cloud solutions with services with flexible business models in the cloud, on-premise, and hybrid. Now that's a mouthful, but to tell us more, we've got Rashid. Welcome to the show, Rashid.
Thank you, Brian, and pleasure to have me in this show.
Now, could you give us an overview of Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise and its history?
Sure. So Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise is a leading provider of digital age networking, communication, and cloud solutions tailored to the customer industries. Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise, we deliver the personalized technology experience, as you mentioned, for all the businesses, and our goal is to keep everything connected. We provide digital age network, communications, and cloud computing solutions with flexible cloud, on-premise, and hybrid business models. Our cloud solution called Rainbow has penetrated into the market with a unique connectivity model, which enables customers to connect and use their technology behind it. The good thing is all these solutions have built-in security and have a limited impact on the environment. From a company perspective, we specialize in 5 verticals so that we can focus our efforts on it. We have education, we have government, we have healthcare, transportation, and hospitality. From a historical standpoint, we are a 100-year-old company with innovations which has made Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise a trusted advisor for more than 1 million customers around the world. Our company is headquartered in France, and we have almost 3,400 business partners direct around the world, allowing to have its effective global reach while maintaining a local focus. So that's a very small overview of us. Brian, if you need more, obviously we can go into the details.
Now, Rashid, I want to first zoom in on something which is a hot topic right now, which is basically supply chain sustainability. Could you kind of enlighten us on what does sustainability mean in a supply chain context?
So, first of all, I think currently supply chain is going through one of the most difficult times, I should say, in the history, where everything is strained. And at the same time, the interesting topic of sustainability comes into the picture. What is in simple terms meaning what we need to have the sustainability, like coming in? Because first of all, everybody has an responsibility to make sure that the environmental impact and upholding our global responsibility to protect the planet that is there. And how is it make sure that we can do that in supply chain? Because supply chain is where we are using the resources to build the products. So we need to make sure that there are some methodologies or guidelines how we are not depleting the resources so that the future generations can use and enjoy what we are enjoying or what our previous generations were enjoying. Normally, like the sustainability has been a nice to have so far, but thanks to so many things, compliance is coming into the picture. It is also becoming a business mandatory thing. So now organizations are now getting into sustainability as a requirement, more nice to have, and it is better for us to the planet.
But share with us in a context and real examples of some of the critical challenges that companies are facing in global supply chains today?
So when you talk about the supply chain, as you can really understand, supply chain, the key factor which people were using was, hey, how can I have better cost? How can I have basically like more lean supply chain? How can I produce faster? All those things were basically the key challenges or the key optimizations supply chain was doing or the professionals were doing to make it done. So moving that from that primary in and incorporating sustainability into the picture, that makes it kind of a balance we need to have. On top of it, basically like the environmental standards which needs to sustain the supply chain, that also needs a lot of like groundwork, because I don't think that has been the framework by which all the organizations has built the supply chain. So for them to move from such a cost lean concept into more a carbon neutral, sustainable supply chain needs a complete transformation. And this one, when you look at from a biggest perspective, how that paradigm shift is happening from a lean supply chain to a focused, sustainable with respect to the cost and environment, how we can have. So from my standpoint, I think the first thing to look at is the mindset, because this is also a mindset change. Basically, people have to make sure that from the decades of lean supply chain, now we have an environment where the environmental sustainability, ethical, social responsibility is also coming as pillars. So clearly, like the whole life cycle has to change. So I think the start is somewhere they need to start, and there are a lot of goals and frameworks people are now providing, and one is the science-based target initiative, where we can start with that and make sure that, okay, we assess the baseline of where we are, and then from there, how do we achieve the targets what we are looking for.
Now, I want to, Rashid, as part of my research for this interview, I took a deep dive into the digital supply chain and referenced two key Harvard Business Review white papers, as well as a PwC Strategy Insights paper. And they talked around 8 key elements in terms of the integrated digital supply chain. It's everything from planning and execution, logistics, procurement, smart warehousing, efficient smart parts management, autonomous B2C logistics, prescriptive supply chain analytics, and digital supply chain enablers. Now, within an Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise perspective, how do you play a role in all of this?
So as far as my roles in Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise is concerned, so I'm also responsible for the CIO of the organization. So I have both the global operations and CIO, which makes it really helpful to fine-tune all these transformations. But let's look at the initial question of digitalization, how it helps. As they say, data is gold today, right? And usage of the data for the right perspective is basically like how we make our transformations. And that's how we use our digitalization. And what is the key benefit there? It provides you the transparency. Earlier, we used to have a lot of data, but it was contained within basically the organizations. Now with the digitalization, we are having the transparency with the suppliers. How? And when you talk about supply chain, as you said, it is an end-to-end life cycle. It's not just part. It starts from the demand planning, our SNOPs, from the procurement into the flow management, into the factories, into the manufacturing part of it, to the logistics. And more importantly, the reverse logistics also, where we need to provide the hardware support. And to the last element, how do we make sure that, we end with the product, like what we have produced in a sustainable environment. So it's an end-to-end thing. And for the end-to-end thing, really, the digitalization becomes a key role. In Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise, we started with this activity way before COVID. And we had a plan to make sure that we use our data, which has been accumulated, into a very transparent, very usable, day-to-day impacting things. Where I remember looking at spreadsheets, etc., to look at the forecast, etc. And after we did all this planning, transformation, and digitalization completed, these were all available to everyone, from us, from our planners, all of them were from suppliers, to everyone, throughout the dashboards we were building. So it enabled a high visibility and efficiency and transformation easier. COVID brought a new phase to this one, which needed acceleration and sudden change. Why? Because of the difficulties, it came in, it added new complexities. But so the steering of a long-term digitalization roadmap got accelerated or little bit deviated when COVID came into the picture. But for sure, with digitalization, with the like the transformation we did with this, we are able to be more efficient, and that's one of the reasons why I think we were able to sustain very efficiently through this tough period right now.
So, Rashid, I want to roll back a little bit pre-COVID. And as you, as a tech company, were embarking on your rapid digitalization and transformation journey, what were the goals that you set yourselves at that time? And what do those goals look like in terms of achievements now, 2 years into COVID? Because what happened is obviously that was acceleration in the last 2 years.
So when you look at the supply chain, what is the most important thing you need? You need to make sure that you are getting your products delivered on time, basically with the maximum quality and like the maximum efficiency, so that you can use the product in the desired way, whether it is an implementation of a customer network by a partner, or if it is a hospital, like a government, wherever it is. So from our product range, that was the primary goal. So our goal was to make sure that we have the minimum revenue left on the table, meaning we ship almost all the orders what we are getting within the time frame what we are getting, and also making sure that the on-time delivery is really like very high, close to the higher 90s, like in terms of making sure that we deliver on time to the customers.
But Rashid, it's been difficult to do in the last, particularly in the last year and a half.
So that's where I'm coming at, right?
Yeah.
Like so those were the real goals when we started our transformation and digitalization and optimization pre-COVID. Now came COVID. So when COVID came in, automatically, like we will talk about the component shortages, etc. But really, what that meant was we had a real problem in terms of sourcing the components and getting the things. Our lead times, I have to tell you, our lead times went from 16 weeks, 16, into 52 weeks. And from there, we went to 70 weeks. I have given now POs to our partners and suppliers for 18 months, non-cancelable, non-refundable POs, so that I can get the allocation. And that too, the allocation is also I'm getting. I'm ordering 100,000, I'm getting only 60,000. And what is making it more difficult in the last couple of quarters is we are getting the decommits. We were supposed to get some component a week, 2 weeks before our production line. All of a sudden, there is a decommit. So all these vulnerabilities which has come in made our focus into the transformation and digitalization to make sure that we can do the sustainability of the delivery in a realistic fashion rather than looking at all the optimization we were looking for. So we had to relax some on different angles, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we can deliver on time. And one good thing I have to tell you so far is because of this elasticity and flexibility in terms of getting our digitalization background, we call it as our digital hallway dashboard, which encompasses as, like from my perspective, the revenue, like booking wise as shipping, where are my suppliers with my orders, and where are the key shortages coming in, and what we need to get recover. So now our primary goal is, okay, on time delivery is important, we need to make sure that is the case, but the lead times are way higher. So we need to balance between, like making our customers happy in terms of understanding the challenges, but at the same time have a realistic expectation also. And this requires a lot of transformation again, and that's what the change was.
Now, looking ahead, what are some of the key trends that you are seeing, especially where you're sitting, that will impact global supply chains in 2022 and 2023? Obviously, the Ukraine war is one of those key factors.
So let's take a little back into like what is the key challenges, especially in the area what we are looking at. So from the products what we are looking at, we have the major chip vendors working with us. We have the plastics, we have the metals, we have the PCBs, etc. So what we are seeing, the trend is there is a big shortage of the wafers coming from the foundries, the TSMCs, the global foundries, etc., which is really constraining the chip makers to say that, hey, you need to give us a clear forecast of 18 months with non-cancelable, non-refundable POs I mentioned before. But what I'm getting the visibility our suppliers are saying is 4 to 6 weeks, not more than that. So how does this really affect us, right? Because I cannot go and tell my customer that, hey, when an order is coming in, hey, I cannot deliver it because I don't know what it is. So that requires a lot of, like anticipation and understanding of what we can do. And this is where we use the three major areas. One is, okay, we work with our suppliers, make sure that give them all the right forecasts, the POs, what they require, so they can plan it, and we get our right allocations, even though it is not meeting the demands what we are having, because the business is booming on the booking side. At the same time, our backlogs are increasing because we are not able to deliver everything. But one good thing we have been having, because of the global shortage management system we implemented within Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise, is still today we have not canceled one order. We have been able to deliver all orders to our customers very successfully. And this required a great teamwork between us, our sales team, our business divisions, our partners, and customers end to end. So that made us a big way. So the first thing is, okay, we work with our suppliers, we make sure that we give them all the right POs, right forecasts, right stuff, and we get the right forecast from our sales and partners. So making sure that this awareness, communication, and getting the right forecast, both from a customer and supplier side, is there. Second is basically, what we need to look at is we cannot be single sourced anymore, because there is a shortage. There is a unprecedented way of seeing things. The costs are abnormally high, lead terms are high. What are the dual sourcing what we can have? Can I have alternate components what we are looking at? So from that perspective, working with our business divisions, looking at the solutions what we are selling to the customer, making sure that we have alternates, we have dual thing, and that takes away some of the resources of our business divisions also in terms of innovating new products, because we need to make sure that the products we have is sustainable, we are having the right stocks and deliver. The third aspect of it, to make sure those things are happening is, okay, what are the opportunities what we can get? So we are looking at open markets to make sure that we can have spot buys, we can have, like however we can make sure that our delivery can be done. So this requires a lot of capacity planning and, like flexibility from our manufacturer standpoint. Like on top of all these things, the logistics right now is a nightmare. The predictability, like we used to pay $2 average for our shipments in air per kilogram from, like Hong Kong to our main hub in Lani, in France. Right now, we have to pay like 3-4 times more. And that too, it is taking more time. So what are the alternate mechanisms by which we can have logistics being? So as you mentioned, Ukraine war is really making a lot of complications into this, like in the whole world. By the way, we have a factory in, like the towards the Hungarian border of, like Ukraine, and I have to admire that whole crew. They did, work through this whole thing and delivered us the product, and we were very concerned for them, but really they made it through and delivered that. So I think everybody's trying hard to get through this struggle to make sure that the complexities which has raised is addressed in a, I should say, a humanly above plan right now, which is making the impossible possible.
Now, Rashid, it's been a very informative conversation, but before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
So I think one of the things which we need to make sure, which I'm trying to do more and more, which I needed to do less before, was making everybody aware of the situation end to end. So I'm doing a lot of education to my internal teams, my partners, my customers, talking to them and making them aware that, okay, this is the situation, what it is. So the transparency of the communication is number one today. And if you are doing it 10 times before, make it 100 times, because the more people understand the difficulty, the more flexible and the more work cooperation you will see. Second is basically like, when I look at challenges, I look at challenges in three ways. The challenges are like internal challenges, the challenges are external challenges, which is predictable, and then there is the third one, which is unknowns. So first and second, I think we need to improve our efficiency to handle it much better, because the unknowns which is coming in today is very, very high. And if we are not allocating the right time to do that, then we have a problem. So this is where I think we need to really understand. So my, advice will be, make sure that you communicate transparently, and make sure that you are all working together as one team, and then make your known things efficient so that you can spend time on your unknowns which is coming to you.
Rashid, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
Thank you, Brian, and it has been a pleasure to share and understand from you also, like what's going on. So thank you very much.
I'm Brian Fernandez, and we've been speaking to Rashid Mohammed, the Executive Vice President of Global Operations and Business Technology at Alcatel-Lucent Enterprises on BizTech's Leadership Conversation show. This video and podcast will be on our social media platforms as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thanks again for tuning in.